first qualifying session of the 2024 Formula 1 season is officially in the books. Guys, welcome back to Racing Direct. We've got a lot to dive into with this qualifying session here in Bahrain, so obviously make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, it really helps us out. Let's dive into all the action from the Bahrain International Circuit on Friday night. So there was some predictable stuff that happened, and there were a few surprises as well. Obviously, we start at the top of the order. No surprise who was on pole position. That is none other than Max Verstappen. He looks like his dominant self as usual. The RB20 is looking pretty good, as many people predicted. All of Adrian Newey's massive innovations and design changes are definitely paying off. However, they're probably not as far ahead as some people were expecting. In this case, once again, the deciding factor is Max Verstappen. You can see Sergio Perez kinda sorta hasn't really come to grips with this car just yet. However, Verstappen has just jumped in and is already lights out. What else would you expect from a three-time Formula 1 world champion? However, just a couple tenths behind him, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari is looking very, very good. Now, yes, their one-lap pace in the Ferrari is very competitive when you're looking at it compared to Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. However, the main talking point, the same thing that it was last year, was the race pace. Yes, there are many teams that could compete with Red Bull in qualifying, but then the race day rolls around and Verstappen just drives off into the distance. We never see him again. Leclerc did say in the post-qualifying interview they could honestly have the same problem again this year. However, we don't really know because obviously this is our first race of the season. We're going to have to figure these things out. However, let's just hope that Ferrari is better than it was last year on its race pace. Hopefully they've worked out some of those mechanical issues too. Of course, that's kind of lingered over Ferrari's head for many years now, but hopefully they're turning a corner. We'll just have to wait and see. Because as of right now, let's just say Leclerc is the direct competitor to Verstappen for the World Championship. If Verstappen is going to have any competition at all, let's really hope it is. Let's hope it's an exciting season. Beyond that front row though, George Russell looks like he's really coming to grips with the W15 pretty quickly. However, his teammate Lewis Hamilton down in P9 definitely has some problems to work out with this car. Doesn't seem like he is come to grips with it as well as his teammate just yet. So that Mercedes is a little tricky to predict. How is it going to be in the race? We know their strategies are generally pretty good. They don't usually make too many mistakes in that department. However, how is this car going to handle the tires? Of course, in Bahrain, it is like unseasonably cold as well. So that's definitely going to play a factor into the strategies and the tire management of these teams. So let's just see how the Mercedes stacks up against the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull in race pace. I'm expecting Lewis Hamilton to make a solid charge up from P9, potentially even work his way onto the podium. McLaren is locking out that fourth row. Honestly, I think they should be pretty dang happy with that. Of course, yes, they have wily old Fernando Alonso just ahead of them in the Aston Martin, once again seemingly outperforming that car. But McLaren as a whole, they've got honestly probably the best 1-2 driver pairing out there right now. Norris and Piastri, there's not really much to split between them. They both handle this McLaren so damn well. I think this is a great position for them to be starting the Grand Prix, locking out that fourth row. They can really play around with the strategies, and I hope for their sake that McLaren race pace is very good, because they could honestly mount a serious challenge for the podium positions. And beyond that, the midfield is honestly a bit of a toss-up. Yes, my Visa Cash App RB prediction hasn't worked out just yet. However, Tsunoda was only 7 milliseconds off of making it into Q3. That car honestly looks like it has some real serious potential. It's obviously much better than the AlphaTauri started last year. So this is a huge improvement for that team. I think they're only going to get better as the season goes on as well. Of course, that driver pairing of Tsunoda and Ricciardo is seriously impressive. I think they're in a good position. Tsunoda is definitely going to finish in the points as long as he stays out of contact with other drivers and has no mechanical issues. For me though, one of the big standouts for all the wrong reasons from qualifying was the Alpine. I said after practice, this car looked a little dodgy, and what are they really going to be? I said they're probably going to be fighting with Haas at the back. That being said though, Nico Hülkenberg into Q3 in that Haas, qualifying in 10th. That is incredible. Never discount the Hulk. Unfortunately though, Alpine is just a complete and utter mess right now. Not only do they have one of the worst paint schemes on the grid, probably the worst honestly, the car is also very very slow. It looks like they're struggling in every aspect. They still haven't managed to get more power out of that Renault engine. The car also looks like a bit of a handful in the corners as well, to quote Martin Brundle. It looks like Gasly and Ocon are wrestling an octopus. Man, did they have their work cut out for them. It is going to be a long season with that Alpine if they can't figure out these problems early in the season. That's it for qualifying, guys, in Bahrain. It is going to be incredibly exciting when the Grand Prix rolls around on Saturday. I'm still thinking Verstappen is going to drive off and get the victory. However, Leclerc, you cannot count him out. He's doing very, very good early on in this Ferrari. As long as they can get the strategies right and the Ferrari has good race pace, we could be in for a very exciting Grand Prix between these two. And obviously, as mentioned, the midfield is hotter than ever. It's really, really hard to predict. There's going to be some epic battles through the middle of the pack and right up to the podium positions, honestly. It's really anyone's guess who is going to grab that P3 behind Verstappen and Leclerc. So guys, thanks again for tuning in. As always, make sure you are subscribed, hit that like button, leave your comments. Who do you think is going to win the Grand Prix tomorrow, and who do you think might be the big surprise in the race? Thanks as always, guys. See you next time.